Okay, so Davide, you will mostly speak for the people online because other people are still at the coffee before coming. So welcome back. We are entering into the second half of today, and we continue for the first time for the first part of the afternoon with Bergamo University and the work of Davide. I'll continue with a few things about Strasbourg, and then we will switch to our distant and Asian speakers today. So Davide, it's up to you.
Thank you very much, Denis. It's a pleasure to be here to speak about our vision, the Bergamo vision about trees and artificial intelligence. I would like to say that I'm a mechanical engineer, so I'm not an artificial intelligence expert, but I founded in 2020 a company that the software house working with artificial intelligence tools for text mining, especially for retrieving information for research and development units for big companies from patents. And if I have time, I will show something about our new product launched 2 days ago before coming here. So what about this speeching? Just a brief outlook about the summary. I didn't know what was the level of knowledge about artificial intelligence in the audience, so I decided to make a small introduction, maybe a little superficial, I don't know, but in order to give my idea, I needed. So a brief introduction about how we can train artificial intelligence for problem solving, and if problem solving can be reduced in prompting, or if we have to do something different, and then discovery and conclusion. So I would like to start with a chart well known in the trees community, where we can see the different wave describing trees 1.0 made by Altshuler, and the second wave starting from 90s with all the improvements by trees community, like process modeling, the integration with business, the automation of function-oriented search. So many tools helping people to develop, to increase consulting in trees. And now, I don't know, but with artificial intelligence, maybe we have a new wave where we have integration maybe with knowledge bases, we have trees prompts, we have fine-tuning. I don't know exactly what will be the forecasting, and I don't know if this third wave can be called trees 3.0 or something else. Maybe problem solving without trees. I don't know. This will be our next future. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, we talk about not a simple technology, but an enabling technology. Here, I don't want to make academic definition, so I just put some example of enabling technologies in order to introduce what is my definition of artificial intelligence. It allows to create the digital twin of humans, so virtual workers that imitate the human reasoning. And I put here, in order to distinguish the artificial intelligence tool with GPT, that is a totally different enabling technology, because ChatGPT changed the way we can talk to a personal computer without the need of software coders. So we have to do this difference in order to explain better how we can do with both. And finally, I would like to introduce the last chart, not taken from Trees Community, but from a book called Productize, the Ultimate Guide to Turning Professional Services into Scalable Products, where we can see that when we want to move from a traditional service into a product, we have to move from a intermediate step, the productized services. And if I do the parallel with the trees evolution, I can see that everyone here is beginning with traditional trees consulting as a teacher in a classroom, for example. And everyone is trying to do something to automatize trees in a final product. But at present, what I'm thinking is that we are digitalizing some problem-solving task and not realizing the final problem-solving software that needs that people from companies solve their problem without using trees and without knowing trees. So we are working in the middle, but artificial intelligence allows us to digitalize some of our task tools, and artificial intelligence new tools allow us to create a new problem solving in the future. So what is coming in the universe of artificial intelligence? It's quite impossible to answer these questions. Just to give the big picture of this endless and expanding evolution, I will show the big picture of Israel startups in 2018. So let's imagine to have the same picture today in all other countries of the world. It's quite impossible to understand what is the future. And what I know that in these days, Google is launching a new environment for AI application that is called Gen App Builder Enterprise Search. That means moving from generic boats to domain-specific boats. And this opens another environment, another enabling technology that we have take into account. Okay, so in order to explain what is my opinion about how to integrate, how to develop new problem-solving software, I started with a simple question to ChatGPT. So, how can I teach an autonomous car to drive itself? And this is the list of the steps. We have to collect data from different driving situations using all the sensors. We have to labeling the data, clean up, train the model, validation, integration, and fine-tuning. Okay, what about the data collection? According to a famous law of a data scientist, garbage in, garbage out. It means that I need a data set with high quality of test drive made by people skilled in the art. Otherwise, our training, our neural network will not generate good outputs. And I also need various scenarios to better train the neural network. And for data labeling, it's also important to divide the driving flow into mini tasks. So according to this consideration, I would like to make the parallel in order to understand what we need for creating an artificial intelligence for problem-solving work. Before starting my consideration, I asked ChatGPT if it is possible to do that. So if I give you 1,000 problems about the same product and 1,000 solutions, maybe patents, are you able to generate new solutions? And if I able to model the problem-solving flow into mini tasks, are you able to apply the method and reapply the method for new case studies? Okay, I had a long dialogue, and I just extract here some phrases. Maybe you can do exactly the same, even if it's not deterministic software. So maybe the answer will be a little bit different, but the common sense could be the same. And what is important is that the answer of ChatGPT is, okay, it is possible. I can generate solution by myself. I create this solution based on statistical models, but not imitating patterns because are not inside. The training of ChatGPT doesn't take into account patterns. And what is important to have a reliable solution is to have a deep understanding of the problem and a deep understanding of the product. And then the capabilities of solving the problem depends on the data training, the quality of the data. So, what are my general considerations? The data set for the GPT training doesn't include pattern. So the best data set where we have problems and solutions. Then, what does it mean to understand the problem? I think that it's not like driving a car. It's a much more complex task. And it's very difficult to divide the problem-solving process in the same way we can segment the driving test process. And another thing, during GPT trainings, the troubleshooters labeling the text were not professional problem solvers, so not professional drivers, by using this the parallel with autonomous car. So it is necessary for training to be carried out by specialists. Okay. So what can be done? I don't expect, for this reason, that now at current GPT can solve by itself a problem, because it's not trained to do that. But we can do something. I have a PhD student that is starting now, and he made a very easy exercise. He tried to collect all the tools from the treats toolbox, as you can see here, the tools for boosting awareness of what you are doing, to model the problem, to understand the problem, to identify resources and parameters, and to boost creativity and cognitive basis. And you will see the big picture there. And for all of that, we try to understand if they can be implemented in a prompt for ChatGPT. So we did a simple exercise for ameliorating, for improving a popcorn machine without explaining ChatGPT what it is. So, for example, I don't have time to show all this exercise. Pavel showed statistic much more rich than we did, but I think we arrived to the same results. So I ask the system to change the energy source in order to transform the kernel of the corn into popcorn. We don't use the energy, the eating source, but we have to exploit some different energy source. So you can see that the model suggests high intensity sound waves or strong magnetic field. So he has the knowledge to do that without training, without explaining what it is. And 1.5 years, maybe 2 years ago, we tried to implement in another way, in a totally different way, a sort of triggers for introducing pointer to effect, in that case physical effect, but also geometrical effect, just managing a function actions library and extracting from USPTO all the verbs, all the functional verbs, using part of speech, using word2vec, using many different languages, many different techniques that now are completely obsolete, that can be substituted by a single prompt. Okay, we have also images, so it's not totally useless, but okay. We spend a lot of time in order to create all this architecture, and now with ChatGPT in 1 second, all these words is useless. What about functional analysis? This is the final output. This is the final output. So just asking, please make a function analysis of this product without explaining the product. ChatGPT knows very well what are the components. So components are totally automatically put in the table with a description, with a relation, a functional relation between them. Maybe it's not complete, but it's a very good starting point. And I can imagine to introduce patterns inside this training in order to increase the quality of results. But it's a good starting point. It works very well. The same for minimal technical system. We explain what a minimal technical system is, and then this is the output in form of a table, understanding what are the main parts of the MTS of this machine, and also with a natural language description. The popcorn machine acts as an object, using its energy, the transmission of it occurs through conduction, and the heating element provides the necessary heat energy to transform the kernel of corn into popcorn. There is also temperature control and so on. So it's a good starting point. It's not perfect, but it is a good starting point, especially if we consider that we didn't give any information about the product. He already knows what the product is. What is not good is the resources identification. This is very far from a good results. He understands the components and he tries to associate resources to components, but it's too generic, and this is not a good point. What about problem identification? I think this part is really impressive, because without explaining what the machine is, he suggests that the main problems are unpopped kernels, uneven heating, slow popping time, kernel burning, limited flavoring option, and so on. So in order to understand how many things we can do for ameliorating this product is really fantastic. It works very well. I don't know the description, but okay, it works very well. The problem is that if I ask the system to explain why we have some problem, so the phenomenology behind the problem, now we have some, the results is not so good. There is something good, especially about the management of the moisture inside the corn, but for the rest, the level of detail about the root cause of the problems is not very good. We tested exactly for understanding the efficacy about the extraction of root cause analysis, and what we understood from this test is that GPT works quite well for understanding the primary cause, but doesn't manage the effect chains, so all the chains. But again, if I train the system with more specific knowledge, including patterns, and if I take into consideration new tools like TCR, that is a new class of artificial intelligence tools to manage temporal causal relationship, maybe could be another starting point to ameliorate this device. What about three principles? We asked the system to apply 40 principles without explaining what they are, and he knows what they are. You will see the explanation and also the customization. I don't want to say if it's good or not. I don't have enough statistical to say if it's good or not. But what can I say is that according to what I understood, this is not the good way to apply real trees. Making prompt from all the different fundamentals in trees, we are doing something that is more similar to brainstorming. That's not a really application of the trees flow, the traditional trees flows. I'm not saying that is not working, but I'm saying that ChatGPT working at two general levels without knowing the phenomenology, the cause-effect chain, is not ready for solving complex problems, complex and real problems. My exercise was to apply this toolbox, GPT-based, to old problems, to my old problems, to the last 2 years problems. And GPT didn't give any hints on how to find those parameters by which I found the best solutions. So it's not useful to go out of the box. So it's very good for identifying alternatives. It's very good to manage functions, to suggest materials. It's fantastic to suggest alternatives in terms of materials. But it can't substitute treats consultancy, experts. So it's not good for the final product, but just for customized services. So to help people speed up their consulting. So what we have to do if we want to jump to the final product? If ChatGPT is not working, what we can do for ameliorating the situation? My colleagues in Triggs works with fine-tuning, not only in OpenAI, because it's difficult, it's very expensive, but they are experts in doing that, making fine-tuning in specific domains. And in order to make fine-tunings, we need precise documents. The data set must be very, very precise. So, as a business model, we decided to develop search engine to extract precise documents, pertinent documents. And all the providers, maybe patent providers, develops software with high recall and not high precision. So we started to work on that, and we use also GPT, but also many others artificial intelligence tools in order to recognize technological feature to go directly to the pertinent document. People from research and development must be sure to take the first document exactly as they are looking for. And this is the reason we are working on that. So, first of all, we need something for retrieving good documents. The second part is the ontology. So we have to understand how to segment the problem-solving flow in order to teach the artificial intelligence how to imitate. And I have divided the word of this flow into refine the problem and to create and generate solution. And from my point of view, what is it is interesting is to understand the first part. I'm not interested in the creativity part, but in all the tools that enabling the understanding of the problem and how we usually reformulate the problem. So all our efforts are concentrated to problem reformulation, to teach neural networks to understand mini task in problem reformulation. What we did for doing that, in Trix, we developed a pool of entity recognition tools. We have a technology that is able to pre-process the text and extract all the technical information. We are able to understand what is the technology context, material, function, components, all the causal relationship, the innovative parameters, what is the problem, what is the goal. And starting from that, we can create filters to navigate inside the text, inside the pool, among pertinent documents. Here we have the discovery front page, index page, but we have a small video after in order to see how it works. And I would like to spend just a few minutes in order to explain how we used artificial intelligence to make something different from other softwares. First of all, we have a high precision way of searching. What we can do, maybe all of us knows how to search in patents. We can search by full text search, till claims, or sometimes independent claims. So I can be precise just going that. We add a more precise search. How? Do you know that in the first claim we have 3 different parts? One part is called preamble, is dedicated to the context. Then we have a part explaining how many elements are related to the invention, and in the third part there is the element containing the novelty. The element, the function, or the parameter. So we use GPT for segmenting the text, for training a neural network in order to understand the different content inside the claim. And now we have a library for doing that. So when we search a keyword or a combination of keywords, we are sure to go deep to reach the goal in a very precise way. We used artificial intelligence to recognize a similar word, especially for applicant search, for example, or technologies, kind of something, and so on. And during the query filling, we have the autocomplete system. We used NER, SLR, LLM, and many other artificial intelligence tools to create filters. And we prepared the filters in advance in order to allow people not skilled in the art to create also complex queries in order to reach the goal. Then we used different ways of making the search. We have a traditional search by combining keywords, but we used also generative questions. I don't know if you know high stacks, for example. Generative questions means that you transform the text into questions. So, for example, if you have a proposition telling that the cow drinks water, this system creates questions. What does the cow drink? And why is important? Because when you write your questions, we can do the match between your questions and the question generated from the text. And this kind of search can be most promising, most efficient that traditional way of searching by keywords. Okay, this is a new application of another family of artificial intelligence tools for text mining. Then we developed new algorithms for similarity. Okay, I don't have time, but the ratio behind is that if I have a way of combining concepts to have one result that is good, I just click one button in order to have all the similar documents. So I don't have to browse among many results, maybe not pertinent. Okay, we have all other semantics, regex, algorithm, textual patterns, and so on for identify topics. And we introduce also real-time interactive charts in order to understand real-time if my search is going in the right direction or not. So, in conclusion, we talk about ChatGPT application for solving problems, and you know now what is my opinion, especially after the test in complex problem. But the question is, if GPT or a similar technology was trained with more specific problem-solving models based on more rigorous problem-solving datasets, conducted by problem solver experts like the Tricksnicks, and integrated with the pattern knowledge, what could it do? It can substitute trees. It can generate real and reliable solutions. I don't know, but what we can do as a trees community is to share our dataset of problem flow, and solutions. Homogenize the path. We can create an ontology, at least for the problem reformulation. This could be. Another consideration, the technological innovation on artificial intelligence is constantly evolving, and my company, but I think also your company, needs a high degree of flexibility. So we have to be ready to readjust our tools, our knowledge, according to the new AI family coming in daily. And with this uncertainty on the market, on the technology market, it's very difficult to make industrial choices. And we don't know how the problem-solving software will be. And we have to wait. Maybe we have to wait. And in the meantime, for me, it is better to concentrate efforts in information retrieval and not for developing problem-solving software. I tested GPT for problem solving. I didn't have time to explore training and teaching, but I think that could be another innovative scenario as well. So we have to wait, because every day something arrives, but we have to keep up. And I don't know if I answer the request of this audience, but I don't have a final answer to the main questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Grazie mille, Davide. So we have several minutes for an exchange and question. Ilias?
For the presentation. It's working now. Thank you very much. Very interesting perspective on the possible one of the possible approaches to combine AI and something approaching trace, from what I understood, not necessarily trace the way you conceive it now. Have a couple of questions. One is rather technical. When you talked about NER, named entity recognition, for having pre-filters in some way, did you concentrate only on some kind of entities, relationships between them, or both of them, and did you represent them in a specific way?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
And it was a separated process to detect both, or it was the same process? It's like the model to detect entities and the relationships were separated or the same, from your knowledge?
I'm not sure to understand the question. So you
I'm about the model that was used to detect relevant entities, and the other to detect relevant relationship between the entities. Was it in the same model, or was it a separate process? Separate.
Yeah, we have a plethora of different tools. So neural networks trained to make very, very many tasks. And sometimes we have training on the domain specific in order to have reliable results. So the business model is to create a perimeter all around the topic of the company. So we create a pool of 1,000 patents all around the topic, and we train neural network to recognize that feature in that field. Otherwise, we don't have the same results, the same quality of results.
So a specific fine-tuning for each subdomain in a way.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
This is it is our business model. And we are trying to automatize this path, this process.
Yeah, and from a database perspective, do you have a special way to store the data before pre-treating it? Is it pre-treated before the search or during the search?
During the search.
During the search.
Yeah.
Because I saw the 0.05 seconds. It was quite fast.
It's quite impossible from an economic point of view to pre-train 140 millions of patents and tagging them. Is quite impossible and maybe useless. So we are doing that all real time, and we are trying to combine the best tools in order to have a good quality in short time.
That will be my last question, since you have the company side as well. What kind of metrics do you use? Quality of the extractions that you make or the results that you bring to the user?
Okay. High validation at the beginning of the training in a traditional way. So we have at least the classical training for the data set. Yes, this is a classic. And for understanding if results are good or not, behind that there is consultancy, so it's the company that says if it's good or not. But we don't have statistical methods for the moment in order to assess a quantity result.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation, very clearly. The question is about the software tricks that you have used for extraction of patent. Is it open source or?
No, it is not open source.
Yeah.
But if you want to test it, we can give you an access.
Okay.
In order to navigate inside a specific database, maybe, I don't know, for
Okay.
holding machines or cheese packaging. These are the two data sets we are preparing for showing the capabilities.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, other questions or reactions? Or comments, simply? Let me check if we... No questions yet from the chat.
David, I have two small questions. First one, you told and showed in your presentation that ChatGPT at least already knows trees. Who gave it this information that trees does exist? Reading the trees books, what do you think? Or
Yes.
some, yes.
Trees books and also trees charts.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the second question is, if in one of your last slides, you told that if we use right people, right expert to teach ChatGPT how to apply trees and how to develop trees, the community will eliminate itself.
Yes, I think so. I agree with you. I agree with you.
You think there is a probability
Yes.
that will happen?
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you.
And I suggest to check a website called Perplexity, and there is another one called PHInt. And if you, it is a sort of ChatGPT, but integrating an index, so you can go directly to the final document, and it can useful to understand if the book you are considering integrating in the training has been taken into account or not, and if you search the documents of our community, the TRITS community, you find all of them. So absolutely, there is no patent. There is no patent, and but I think all the TRITS books, the English TRITS books, are inside the training.
Thank you very much.